Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Now, for those of you who saw my most recent video, which was uploaded about 2 hours ago, and recorded today, you're probably thinking, James, I'm pretty worried about you. You're in a bad way. But did you do any of the things you said you're going to do? Well, as a matter of fact, I did. I went on the internet, looked on the search engine of my choice. It's not, which is Ecosia, by the way. They plant trees. And I went and looked at Mind, a UK-based charity dealing with those who have mental health problems. I looked up some of my symptoms and it recommended I start cognitive behavior therapy, otherwise known as CBT, not to be confused with CBD. And thinking about it, I remembered I have a book which I bought several years ago in Waterstones, and it's right here. It cost me $6.99 apparently. I don't remember paying that, but I must have done. Which, thinking about it, is pretty cheap for Waterstones. And because I want to show you how serious I am about doing this, I'm going to do this on camera. Now, this is kind of challenging because I've got a selfie stick right here. So, this is it, the little CBT workbook. It's probably more than $6.99 now for those who want to buy it themselves. But I neither recommend nor not recommend this book, actually, because I've never opened it. Oh, and also, while I remember, if you do have mental health problems like me, for the love of God, don't use BetterHelp, okay? There's a ton of videos out there about how crappy an organisation they are, okay? Go watch them. Now let's begin, shall we? I'm going to be reading the pages out now. The Little CBT Workbook. A step-by-step guide to gaining control of your life by Dr. Michael Sinclair and Dr. Belinda Hollingsworth. Published by Crimson, I'm assuming that means. Dedicated with sincerest gratitude to our loved ones and to all the clients we have had the privilege to meet and work with. Without you, this book would not have been possible. Okay, I'm not going to go through the contents, but I will read the foreword. Okay, so I'm going to get this a bit closer. As an occupational physician, I frequently see patients who are overwhelmed by the various demands made on them through work, home, and life in general. These days, we are all bombarded with information via 24-hour television, email, and instant global communications. I think I've just aged this book because there's no mention of social media. Anyway, add to this the uncertainties around job security, worries about the economy, and the pressures people feel to have it all, and it's easy to say how many of us feel we just can't cope. So far, that's me. Many people see their doctor with symptoms of insomnia, anxiety, tearfulness, loss of control, and loss of pleasure in life. They feel unwell and so they seek help from their GP. These symptoms can progress to anxiety or depression if untreated, but in the early stage many of these people are not ill but unhappy, overloaded, and their ability to cope is exhausted. Of course, pills are one solution. They can help in the short term, but how do we help people in the longer term? The answer for many is cognitive behavioural therapy, otherwise known as CBT. A problem-solving solution aimed at turning negative thinking into positive actions. In the UK, the National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence, otherwise known as NICE, recommends CBT for the management of many common mental health problems, including depression and anxiety, and with its scientifically proven success rate, it's easy to understand why. That was one full sentence, by the way, I just paused awkwardly. CBT is not a quick fix. Pity. Changing a lifetime of unhelpful habits doesn't happen in a week or two, but many of my patients have come back to see me after completing a course of CBT and have said they wished they had done a course when they were 18 instead of waiting till they had become overwhelmed. It has helped them to deal with a range of difficult situations, including relationship problems, both at work and home, and health and sleep problems. CBT has had a huge surge in popularity over recent years. Partly this is due to cost. Most people have 6 to 12 sessions on a weekly basis rather than much longer courses of other therapies. But it is mainly due to the fact that people see results early on, feel more in control of their lives and better able to cope with multiple demands in their time. Excuse me. As experienced CBT practitioner and psychologist, Dr. Michael Sinclair and Dr. Belinda Hollingsworth have helped many patients deal with difficult circumstances and equipped them to cope better with future challenges, as well as helping people in crisis. They offer practical advice on coping, and as a result, patients are often able to continue in their jobs and maintain a normal routine. Unfortunately, it's not always possible to start CBT as soon as it becomes evident that a patient needs it. There are often lengthy waiting lists for treatment in the National Health Service, and even in the private sector, people may sometimes have to wait for a slot to become free. And once patients know that there is help available, understandably don't want to get moving as soon as possible. This is where the little CBT workbook will be invaluable. Patients can familiarise themselves with the theory of CBT and start to practice some of the techniques even before they see a psychologist. They will be in a better position to benefit from formal sessions with their therapist, but, most importantly, they feel back in control more quickly. Dr. Sinclair and Dr. Hollingsworth have done a tremendous job in making CBT accessible and easy to follow in this very practical book. There is enough explanation of how everyday stressors cause symptoms for the reader to understand what is happening physiologically and psychologically without becoming immersed in too much biochemistry or psychological jargon. The practical techniques described will help the reader to identify new ways of coping straight away, and practice will ensure long-term benefits. By revisiting some of the charts, it is easy to plot progress and see what extent CBT can alter behaviour in a positive way. Furthermore, this book removes the stigma around common mental health problems, promotes the acceptability of helping ourselves in a healthy way. That's better. Actually, that makes it look more fat. That's better. Another benefit of this book will be to act as a refresher for people who have already completed a course of CBT. It is only human nature to revert to unhelpful old habits once a crisis has passed. This book will help people to stay on track with positive thoughts and actions. The book's compact size means it can easily be tucked into a handbag or briefcase. I expect to see many copies being studied on trains and buses in months to come. And that's from Dr. Jill Hazelhurst, MB, CHB, DIH, AFOM, occupational physician. So there you have it. That's the foreword. I'm not going to read. Next bit is about the author. I'm not going to read that because I don't think that's really going to help. I mean, no offense to Dr. Michael Sinclair, C per cycle, CSCI, AFB, PSS, but reading about these guys is not going to help. Okay. Introduction. Actually, I might read that bit later. I might read that at the end, actually. Actually, you know what? I'm going to read it now. And if you want to listen to it, you can listen to it at the end. I'll make a separate chapter at the end. So, Jimmy, if you listen to this, do that, alright? Okay. Everyone, I just want to say now that you're going to be following me doing this actual book. I'll be reading if there's puzzles and stuff to do, which is there. Yes, there is. There's puzzles and stuff to write down. Now, I'm going to take you on a journey as I complete this whole book. But in no way is this a substitute for doing it yourself. Okay? I will be reading everything I do, everything that's on the pages. As I fill stuff out, I shall tell you about it. I may even give context if it is required. But in no way is this a substitute for doing it yourself, okay? So, just so you know, the book, the little CBT workbook. Okay? Right. Now the book's disappearing. I'm going to go back to reading it. Introduction. As you begin reading this book, you may be wondering if it is right for you. What was it that made you pick it up? At the time I read, CBT might be good for me. And that was as far as it went. Perhaps you have heard of CBT and thought it sounded interesting. That is very true. Perhaps a loved one has had CBT and spoken highly of it. You may have even had some yourself and now want to learn more. Perhaps you feel that things aren't right for you at the moment and you're looking for some help. Alternatively, perhaps you are happy in your life but feel there is room for improvement. If any, or all of the above relate to you, this book can help. CBT has been considered one of the paramount interventions in the field of psychology for over 30 years and can be very effective. Okay. About this book. The Little CBT Workbook is, of course, predominantly a workbook. Therefore, our emphasis is on helping you develop practical skills to manage your emotional experiences more effectively in your daily life. Our aim is to provide a comprehensive guide of principles and techniques that can make an immediate impact on your mood, and consequently your life. Therefore, we are going to provide you with an explanation of CBT in a nutshell, which will give you a solid working base to build upon. How to get the most from the book. There is no quick fix to psychological change, though CBT offers a range of practical techniques. It is important not to rush through this book when practicing them. The techniques are simple, but change can be difficult and often takes effort and a lot of patience. To understand it, you may want to have a read through this book from the beginning to end at first, but bear in mind that the more you pause and practice the techniques and exercises, the more you'll notice the benefits of CBT. You may find a certain uncomfortable feelings emerge while reading this book. Yeah, I will be honest with you, that part kind of scares me. But please don't let this put you off, as perseverance is the key. Now, funny enough, fear is a big factor in me screwing up my life. Let's see if I can get this right. Fear is a big factor in me not doing things. Fear. It's very powerful and it drives a lot of me. Or it drives me a lot, I should say. Right, back to the book. Author's notes. Case examples in this book. Case examples have been used in this book to demonstrate the philosophy, tools and techniques of CBT. The authors respect the privacy of each of their clients and therefore this book does not contain any detail of actual clinical cases. Maybe that's clinical. Anyway, with whom they have worked. All names, circumstances and identifying marks that resemble real people or events are entirely coincidental and should be considered as such. The use and scope of this book. Please note that this book and the techniques within it are designed to assist with self-help. This book and its contents are not to be used in the diagnosis of or faltering of any psychological conditions, nor are they to be used to replace the services of a trained and qualified mental health professional. Okay, remember this, people, okay? This is only a small part of it, okay? Okay, on to the juicy stuff now, I think. Part 1, CBT and you. In this first part of the book, we're going to share the basic principles and philosophy of CBT. Examples and exercises are included, which will help you begin understanding yourself with CBT and knows how it can have a profound impact on your life. Where's that? Yeah, it is. Number 1. How CBT can change your life. You all want to be happy, right? Yeah, obviously. Although we often differ in what our definition of happiness is, it is something that is universally pursued. Excuse me, if I miss this. Most of us have had the thought, I would be happy if. I'll be happy if I had more money and could travel more. Good example. I'll be happy if I had someone who loved me. In the romantic sense, that is. Actually, no, that's not true. Actually, I probably wouldn't. Anyway. The if usually refers to changes in our situation, such as more money, bigger house, a different job, etc. Given our fixation with pursuing happiness, scientific research have dedicated a lot of time trying to uncover the secret to happiness. In fact, people who define themselves as happy and people who define themselves as unhappy have been analysed over the years to try and work a difference between them. Just what is it that makes one group happy and the other group unhappy? What do you think? Is it that happy people are richer, thinner or healthier? Healthier usually, I think. I've seen rich people on TV, they're all miserable. Or is it that happy people have had fewer sad events in their life than unhappy people? I don't know how to answer that one. Well, the answer may surprise you. Statistically speaking, happy and unhappy do not differ at all on these points. Happy people are not richer, thinner, or healthier than their unhappy counterparts, nor have they experienced less loss or trauma. It means that there is no difference in their life circumstance. So what is the difference? If our life situation does not determine our feelings, what does? It actually comes down to our perspective or thoughts on a situation. In case in point, I'd like to show you. This. Is this glass half full or half empty? Now this is something I've been asked a few times. So I remember that time when I was younger, people would ask this question. He said, if you say the glass is half full, you're positive, but it's half empty, you're a negative person. This is one of those times where I sit on the fence. Or to quote a previous boss, I'm sat on the fence with a massive fence post up my arse. This is one of those cases. I mean, half full, half empty, they're both the same. I don't think it really matters. Now reading on. That's my back. It's not the most comfy sitting this way, but it's what I'm doing. Anyway, that's it. Although this is an overused expression, it does get at the heart of what CBT is and how it can dramatically influence your life. The difference between happy people and unhappy people essentially comes down to whether they see the glass of water, or in other words, their life circumstances, as half empty negatively or as half full positively, just like I said. Let's stop and think about this for a moment. If we accept this analogy, we must accept that our life situation may not be the only factor to affect our emotions. Still convinced that all you need is a better house, job, relationship to make you happy. Consider the following example. Two friends, Melanie and Joanna, both had job interviews on the same day. Melanie is feeling very nervous and as though her heart is going to pound out of her chest. In contrast, Joanna is only slightly nervous and is actually a little excited. Though she is aware of an unusual thing in her chest, it is more akin to butterflies than pounding. These two women are in an identical situation but experiencing quite different physical and emotional reactions. This is down to one fundamental difference, which has nothing to do with their pending job interview, their perspective. See, it's got perspective, see? Melanie's perspective, I'm going to read it out to you. Melanie's perspective. I'm so nervous. I don't know why I'm bothering with this. They must be interviewing so many people better than me. I have no chance. I'm going to pick up all the holes in my previous experience and see that I won't be able to do it. Probably just ending up embarrassing myself as per usual. Melanie is very me. Melanie is very me. Let's go on. Joanna's perspective. I really want this job. I think writing? No, there isn't. Okay. I really want this job. I think I prepared well enough to impress them. I hope they haven't noticed my lack of experience in some areas, but if they ask, I'll just be honest and tell them how hard I'm willing to work to bridge the gap. If this goes well, I'm sure I can do it. Someone thinks highly of themselves, don't they, Joanna? Don't like that. Just kidding. I don't hate confident people. I just hate that I'm not like them. Okay. What are your reactions to that? You're probably thinking there must be concrete reasons why Joanna feels more confident, but this may not be the case. Let's look at some questions that often arise when discussing the difference in perspectives. Frequently asked questions. What if Melanie is actually less qualified for the position than Joanna? What if Melanie's financial situation is worse than Joanna's? What if Joanna has more experience of the interview process? What if Joanna is more prepared for the interview than Melanie? These questions usually come up in a bid to explain how Joanna is able to be so positive while Melanie is being so negative. Surely if they were in the exact same situation, there would not be such a difference between their views. Surely Melanie's situation has to be worse than Joanna's. Of course, this line of thought returns to focusing on the actual situation, rather than our thoughts and perspective on it. In reality, the external circumstances themselves are often irrelevant. All comes down to how we view them. The thoughts we have are largely independent of the situation. Take Melanie and Joanna. It is clear From their perspective, they both feel that they have gaps in their experience, potentially bad situation. However, when Melanie, considers this point, her thought is they'll see that I won't be able to do it, while Joanna thinks I'm willing to work to bridge the gap. It is the same glass of water, but it's half empty or half full. An important point for this example is that although Joanna had the more optimistic perspective, she still felt nervous. Having a more positive perspective does not mean that you're always going to be overjoyed and happy. People with more positive thoughts still feel sad, angry, frustrated and worried at times. Their positive perspective simply allows them to manage this in a more helpful way that does not make a difficult situation worse. All good stuff so far. So, next page. What is CBT? CBT refers to two core aspects of our psychology. Number 1, thinking. Cognition refers to all of our thoughts, which includes memories, images, words, etc. Everything that goes through our heads falls into this category. Number 2, action. Behavior refers to whatever we are doing with our body at any particular moment. Often when asked what they are doing, people will say nothing, but this is actually impossible. We are always doing something. Even sitting on the couch staring into space is considered an action. This is something I do a lot when people say, "What are you doing?" Nothing. I'm always doing something, I just don't want to tell them. Because I'm ashamed. Why would they judge me and all that other stuff? Now that we have defined the basic elements within CBT, we can look at what this has to do with how we feel. Basically, CBT proposes that the way we feel at any given moment is a direct consequence of what we are thinking. Let's put this into practice now. Exercise 1.1, Mood Inducement. Take a moment to recall a happy event in your life. As a delicious. You can pick anything you like as long as it stands out as a strong and positive moment in your memory. Try to recall specific details such as what happened, what was said, who was there, where it was, how you felt, etc. Make an effort to recreate this event in your mind for at least 30 seconds before continuing reading. How did you find this? Okay, so I've got to look up a memory. A really happy memory. Now let me think. Really happy memory for me. I don't have many of those. I do have a few. Let me think. Okay, I have one. I have a really happy memory. When I was in Finland, I went to a forest called Haukalampi. I think it was called. There'll be a picture up to show you actually the thing. And it was like a country trek. It was really nice that day, really beautiful. And there's this one picture where I'm standing behind this massive lake. And there's trees and everything. It's so amazing there. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And it's something that stands out. And I took a selfie. I took several selfies actually, but there's one I'm really proud of, which you've seen by now because I've shown it on this video. And that is the happy memory I'm going to use for this example. Now let's get back to it. How did you find this? Most people report feeling happy after this exercise, may even be smiling right now. If you do feel happier than you did before, ask yourself the following questions. I do feel better. Thinking about it, I done it. Saying that I did. Is your life any different? In the last 30 seconds? No. Are there any... Look in the negative section. Sorry people. Are there any personal concerns that you had at the start of the book resolved? Not really, no. Have you drastically changed what you're doing right now? No. I'm doing the book. As you know, I'm recording it. Hopefully, the authors of the book don't sue me for this, hopefully. Or at least take the video down. But I do feel bad thinking about it. And I have this urge to kind of push on so I can do it again. Now, about the book, chances are that you answered not no to all of these questions. Chances are that absolutely nothing changed in your current life circumstance. You notice a significant improvement in your mood. Why? I have an increased mood right now. Because what you were thinking about changed. This exercise has demonstrated a core principle of CBT. Our thoughts are the driving force behind our emotions. Okay, so we now know how thoughts and feelings are related to each other. How does our behaviour link in? Well, let's think about this. Why does someone cry? Because they feel sad. It's very true. I cried a little last night. And I cried a little bit 2 weeks ago when I thought about my dog Fred, who is sadly no longer with us and died in tragic circumstances. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you Fred. Well, there'll be a picture on screen, but I'm going to show you the Fred that I have as a replacement. This is my Fred 2.0. Sometimes if I'm sad or missing him, I cuddle him like this. And I talk to him. Let's see if he was right here. And it usually makes me cry because I get very sad thinking about him. Actually, I'm getting very sad now thinking about him right now. Sorry, mate, but I'm going to have to put you to the side. I'm going to put you right here. You'll be emotional. My emotional support dog tonight, you will. Good boy. Now, ironically, thinking about it sad, I'm wondering. Actually, I probably shouldn't have done that for the book, but you know what? Screw it. Anyway, let's go back to the book. Why does someone sit on the couch watching television instead of cleaning the house? Because they feel unmotivated. Very true. One of the problems I have with doing housework is that I think to myself, it does get dirty again. I don't mean like the same way a child would say, I'm not going to have a wash because I get dirty again. I mean, it gets dirty again. Sometimes it gets dirty again very quickly. It's like you can sweep the entire floor, get rid of all the dirt, and an hour later you start seeing more dirt. As if somehow it's come out. You know, the dust gods and saying decided that there's going to be a load more there. And that can be disheartening. Why does someone yell and scream? Because they feel angry and because they have emotions they need to get out. When we think about it, it becomes quite obvious that our behaviour is guided by how we feel. Therefore, how we think affects how we feel, which in turn affects how we behave, and in fact, often the way we behave directly reinforces our original thoughts and therefore our feelings once again. Consider a time when you have been at work and felt unmotivated. Oh yeah, a lot of them. A common behavioural reaction to this feeling is procrastination, surfing the internet, phoning a friend, etc. Doom scrolling. Nowadays you'd replace surfing the internet with doom scrolling. I do a lot of that. How do engaging in these behaviours affect your motivation to work? It doesn't. That's the thing, it doesn't affect it. It just makes you feel horrible for not doing the work you know you're supposed to be doing. Chances are they actually fueled your lack of motivation, rather than quenching it. The process is demonstrated in the diagram opposite, so I'm going to show you. Hopefully you can see that. It's on there long enough so you can pause it and read. So you start with thought. I have so much work to do. Feeling overwhelmed and unmotivated. Behaviour, procrastination, which leads you to think I have so much work to do. And I've done this so many freaking times. I've lost count. This example, we can start to see that if we were to think differently about our work, we might feel more optimistic and motivated, therefore more proactive around our work. So by using the CBT techniques aligned in the rest of this book, we can target our feelings via changing the way we think, via changing the way we subsequently behave. And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 1. I'm going to leave it there tonight because my throat is feeling pretty dry. And, you know, talking about Fred and Finland has left me feeling rather emotional. So it's probably a good time I get into bed and sleep. Hopefully I'll get this video edited uploaded tomorrow, hopefully. I mean, it's going to be quite a long one, so hopefully, fingers crossed, eh? Now, I'm going to leave this here tonight. So until next time, hopefully I'll see you again for part 2. Till next time, bye. About the authors, Dr. Michael Sinclair. I'm not going to go for the letters. As an experienced CBT practitioner and registered psychologist, Michael has provided high quality psychological treatment to individuals, couples and families for over 12 years. He is an Associate Fellow of the British Psychological Society, a Chartered Scientist registered with the Science Council and the lead clinical consultant at City Psychology Group London. Along with his impressive academic background, he has gained extensive experience delivering CBT and GP surgeries for occupational health departments and the Royal Free Hospital London. He regularly provides CBT training and clinical supervision to other health professionals. He is often sought after in the media as a CBT expert and has published self-help books or his academic papers on his research. Excuse me. Okay, Dr. Belinda Hollingsworth. See Cycle Maps CCLIN. I'm sure someone knows what they mean. Belinda is a chartered practitioner psychologist who has been working with clients within a CBT framework since she began her postgraduate training in 2006. She is a member of both the British and Australian psychological societies. She currently works as a senior clinician at City Psychology Group London. Belinda regularly utilises her CBT expertise to help people overcome their challenges and gain enhanced quality of life. Belinda's professional opinion has been sought in the media. She has been interviewed on BBC Radio 5 Live. Wow. She is especially proud of this book as it is her first publication. Now, that's a lot of reading.